Good evening, everyone. My name is Natalia Rosa, and I am a senior here at Pingree. I heard about Pingree through my middle school, KIPP Academy Lynn. As soon as I visited Pingree, I fell in love with the beautiful campus and the freedom that the students have here. Coming from Lynn, the beautiful green soccer fields and the grand pillars at the front entrance was not something I was used to seeing every day. But prep at Pingree reaches into communities like mine in Lynn. As soon as I heard about Prep at Pingree, I applied. I was excited to attend the program, for I knew that it would guide me through a smooth transition into high school. And I was right. Prep at Pingree helped me fill in the gaps I had in my education, especially in math. Thank you, Ms. O. I had so much fun that summer. The teachers were all very helpful and enthusiastic, making learning fun. But I must admit that the afternoon activities with the student counselors was the highlight of the day. They were my peers, the people that I felt I could connect to, and from whom I received a lot of valuable advice from. For they were living in the world that I was about to enter into, high school. Now I am able to help other students through that same transition. Next year will be my 4th summer working at Prep at Pingree as a student instructor. And if it were not for Prep at Pingree, I would not now have the honor to be introducing tonight's speaker, Governor Deval Patrick. His story is very inspiring and serves as proof that outreach programs can really impact someone's life, and that's what we hope to do here at Prep at Pingree. Governor Patrick was born on the south side of Chicago in 1956. His childhood was full of struggles as he grew up in one of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods. Through the outreach called A Better Chance, Governor Patrick received a scholarship to Milton Academy, right here in Massachusetts. In 1974, he graduated from Milton and continued his education at Harvard College, being the first in his family to attend college. After graduating with honors in 1978, Governor Patrick lived in Africa for a year and worked mostly with the United Nations Youth Training in Darfur. He then returned to Cambridge, Massachusetts to attend Harvard Law School. Later, he clerked for a federal judge, learned to be a successful attorney and business executive, and in 1994, he was appointed by President Clinton to be Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. On November 7th of 2006, Deval Patrick became the governor of Massachusetts. While in office, he has supervised the statewide universal health insurance program, supported the Cape Wind Project, and stood up for immigrant rights. Today, Governor Deval Patrick lives in Milton with his wife and 2 daughters. Everyone, welcome tonight's speaker to our Pingree community, Governor Deval Patrick.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Natalia, thank you for the generous introduction. It is, I'll say to all of you what I said to Natalia, I'm proud to know you, and I look forward to what things will come. To Mr. Corning and the members of the, Mr. Bishop and all the members of the Board of Trustees, to Dr. Johnson, to Steve Filosa. Where did Steve go? He's hovering in the back. Steve Filosa, the founding director of Prep at Pingree, and Holly O'Donoghue, and Malcolm Coates, I understand, is here as well. Where are you, Malcolm? Thank you. To Bill and Mary Wasserman, who are my friends and deeply involved with Prep at Pingree, and Mary basically said if I didn't show up, there would be hell to pay. Listening, though, I must say, to Herman and Connie and to Margaret, I'm really, and their stories, and frankly, the number of Prep at Pingree students I had a chance to visit with before coming down, I'm not sure I have very much to add. They really said it all. Although I would make one observation for you, Herman. Where did you go? I hope you will come back for your 25th reunion, because at that point you will discover that your faculty members will have reached the age you thought they were when you were a student here. I had a marvelous occasion just before coming in to the gym here to sit with most of the prep at Pingree current students here at Pingree and get a sense from them about their experience in the program and here at Pingree. And I thank them for the time and the candor and the good humor and the sense of promise and hopefulness that they shared with me. It sounded very, very familiar in terms of my own experience coming from where I came from to the south side of Chicago, as Natalia referred to. Most of you here know that I grew up on the south side of Chicago, most of that time on welfare. I lived with my mother and my sister and my grandparents in a 2-bedroom tenement with various other relatives who came and went. And my mother and sister and I shared one of those bedrooms and a set of bunk beds. So you go from the top bunk to the bottom bunk to the floor every third night on the floor. I went to big and broken, sometimes violent public schools. I will say that for all the things we didn't have on the south side of Chicago, one thing we did have was a strong sense of community. Because those were days in the 50s and 60s when every child was under the jurisdiction of every single adult on the block. So if you messed up down the street in front of Ms. Jones, she would straighten you out as if you were hers and then call home, right? So you get it 2 times. And one of the things that I hear here and talking with the young people at Pingree is that you have gone a long way, Dr. Johnson, to create that sense of community here as well. That is incredibly important. In 1970, I got my break through a program called A Better Chance to Go to Milton Academy, which for me was like landing on a different planet. I've told Bill and Mary this story before about how they had a dress code in those days. The boys wore jackets and ties to classes, so when the clothing list arrived at home, my grandparents splurged on a brand new jacket for me to wear to class. But a jacket on the south side of Chicago is a windbreaker. So the first day of class, all the other boys were putting on their blue blazers and their tweed coats, and there was I in my windbreaker. I'd like to point out that I have figured it out. But it was a wildly different environment. A totally different experience, a whole different language. In those days, we still had kids who were chauffeured to school, the day students. We had tea that was poured by ladies in white gloves. I missed that, I must tell you. But it was a radically different experience than I had come from. And one of the things I was asking the young people at Pingree about was whether they also have that experience, that feeling of trying to straddle 2 very different worlds. Where in my case at Milton Academy, in those days, for all the good work that was done to make us feel welcome, and there was a lot of good work done in that regard, it still felt like the price of admission to the one world was rejecting the other. That you didn't quite have a vocabulary to be able to describe to our friends and family at home quite what that life at Milton was like, nor did you have one at Milton that quite was able to get people to absorb what life at home was like. I remember the very first visit home in the first semester after many months away, and standing in the front hall of that tenement I described a minute ago, and my sister blurting out, "Ooh," she said, "he talks like a white boy." And I was devastated. My grandmother shot back, "Actually, he speaks like an educated boy." And it saved the day. And I think that as Natalia said, and I hope you don't mind, Natalia, my paying you this compliment publicly, she is well ahead in her life of where I was in mine at your age. Because what I had to figure out, and it took me some time to do, but you already have, is that we each have to decide who we are, deep down inside, our essence, what's true to us, and then to be that all the time, no matter what environment we go into. And learning that is a liberating thing, especially if you have the ambition that so many of these young people do, and that I did and do, to live as a citizen of the whole world. I wanted to come by tonight because I wanted to thank those of you who have supported prep at Pingree for the gift that you have given to these young people. And to make clear, to make sure that you are clear, that that gift goes beyond enabling them to attend Pingree and schools like it, as important as that is. The gift you have given is enabling them to imagine any setting, any path they want, and then to project themselves into it. And I want to tell you, as somebody who grew up on the south side of Chicago, you have no idea how profound a gift that is. Happy 10th birthday. Keep it up. Thank you.